This is a story I remember my dad telling me a while back. It's about a time when he went on an outing with his brother-in-law, Kyle, many years ago. My dad didn't tell me too much about it, but he shared enough that I can pass it on. To understand what happened, you need to know that my dad and Uncle Kyle were complete opposites. My dad was a DIY kind of guy who liked to figure things out and fix them himself. He knew his way around tools like nails, hammers, and fishing hooks. On the other hand, Uncle Kyle was the type of person who would rather pay someone else to do things for him. If things didn't go his way, he would complain. He only listened to experts, and even then, he liked to do things his own way. One day, my dad and Uncle Kyle decided to go on a fishing trip together. The reason was that my mom and aunt wanted them to spend more time together and bond. To be honest, they didn't have much in common. The only things they really shared were their wives being sisters and both having kids of their own. While they were fishing, something crazy happened. Uncle Kyle accidentally got a fishing hook stuck through his thumb, with the pointy end sticking out. He started screaming and rocking the boat, yelling, "This hurts so much. Call an ambulance." Now my dad tried to calm him down, saying, "Hey, I've been in your shoes before. I know how to get the hook out. We need to get some pliers, cut the hook, and then pull it out of your thumb." Uncle Kyle was still panicking, shouting, "I don't care. I don't care. I hurt. Take me to land, find a payphone, and call an ambulance." Now my dad tried to reason with him, saying, "Are you sure you want to do that? I have the tools to help you right here." But Uncle Kyle wouldn't listen, yelling, "Just do it now." My dad sighed and said, "Fine, if that's what you want." So, my dad rowed the boat back to shore, found a payphone, and Uncle Kyle called for directions to the nearest emergency room. Then, my dad drove them both to the ER and waited patiently in the waiting room for Uncle Kyle to come out. It didn't take long. Just a few minutes later, Uncle Kyle emerged with a bandage on his thumb and his usual grumpy expression. Before the doctor went back to his area, my dad approached him and asked, "So, how did you manage to get the hook out?" It turned out that the doctor did exactly what my dad had suggested, cutting off the pointy end of the hook and slowly pulling it out. The only difference was that it cost Uncle Kyle $200 and earned my dad an "I told you so" moment. After that, my dad said they never went on any more solo trips together. Uncle Kyle actually blamed my dad for the whole mess, even though he was the one who had put the hook on the line in the first place. He was fine, but he just liked to complain about everything. Miss you, Dad. Thanks for a fun story to share. Story 2. A few years ago, I was driving my kids to Florida to visit our family. While we were on the road, my brother called me to plan a time to meet up later that week. I put my brother's call on speakerphone so I could drive hands-free, but I quickly wished I hadn't. For the next 30 seconds, he used a lot of bad words, and my kids and wife were shocked to hear them. After my brother finished yelling, I heard him say freaking Siri then. I reminded him, "Dude, my kids can hear you." He explained that he had tried to call me using Siri, saying, "Hey Siri, call my brother," but Siri misunderstood, and he ended up calling me instead. He joked, "Okay, I'll just call you Hermano from now on." Hermano means brother in Spanish. He told me that he has me saved in his phone's contact list as Mi Hermano, which means my brother in Spanish. Growing up in South Florida, it's hard not to learn some Spanish, so it didn't surprise me that he used that name for me. A few days later, when we met up for lunch, I found out what he had reprogrammed Siri to call him when she annoyed him by referring to him with a not-so-nice word. Let's just say it wasn't a pleasant term. So yeah, if Siri can be a little mean-spirited, she definitely got the best of my brother. Story 3. Since my kids were born, I've been thinking a lot about keeping them safe. I started wondering, what would I do if something bad happened? So I began thinking about worst-case scenarios like a house fire or getting lost in a remote area. I decided to prepare for emergencies by creating a small collection of essential items that I can easily attach to my backpack when we travel. So far, I've added the following items to my outdoor pack: 3 bundles of rope, a multi-tool, a fire starter called a ferro rod, and 2 large tarps. I also have a first aid kit. Next, I plan to add more supplies, including 12 packets of dried food, 2 water containers, and a water filter that can remove impurities from water. I actually have another pack called the House Fire Pack, which is a hiking bag filled with essentials in case our house catches fire. Inside, I have spare clothes, water bottles, blankets, snacks, and a set of car keys. If there's a fire, I can quickly grab the bag, get my family into the car, and have some basic supplies to help us until we can reach safety at a family member's home. To be honest, my life is pretty safe and stable now, which is a big change from the past. I used to struggle with poverty and homelessness in a very rough neighborhood. If I could go back in time 10 years and tell my younger self how my life would turn out, he wouldn't believe it. My current life is so secure that my wife thinks I'm crazy for preparing for emergencies. We don't live in an area prone to natural disasters like earthquakes, tornadoes, or nuclear accidents. Instead, we live in a quiet suburban area that gradually turns into rural landscape if you walk for 20 minutes. It's a really nice place to live. However, my personal thinking is that it's good to have a plan in case things go wrong. Although I'm no expert in wilderness survival, if we're on a family trip and the car crashes into the woods in a remote area with no phone signal, we could be in serious trouble. I need to be prepared for that, no matter how unlikely it sounds, because the thought of losing my family is unbearable. If the emergency kit isn't needed, I can still make good use of it. I can use some of the items to set up a fun backyard camping adventure with the kids or create sunshades for a family picnic. So either way, it's a win-win situation. I want to add one more thing. I'm not going overboard with this preparation. I'm not using up all our savings or becoming a doomsday prepper. I'm just gradually adding a few small items to my collection each month. Eventually, these will come together to form a portable emergency kit. Just in case something unexpected happens,